Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Digitalization of Mental Health Care, Applicability and Challenges. Organizers Health Services, part of Innovation Month. This is the fourth day of a series of events. And today we're joined by multiple speakers who will be talking about the challenges we're facing today and how we can tackle those challenges in mental health. So I'm going to let every speaker introduce themselves. Let's start with Zaheer Nasser from Doctoori. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this amazing panel. My name is Zaheer Nasser. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Doctoori UK Limited, as well as the Managing Partner and Co-founder at Doctoori Connect in Abu Dhabi. We are a digital health content company, as well as a digital functional medicine provider. And we're working towards building a holistic health system where we provide specialized blood testing, connection to health coaches and functional medicine doctors to provide root cause medicine. And we're very excited to be part of a panel like this and also to contribute to the evolution of healthcare in the region.
Thank you, Zaheer. Thank you. Suna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. First of all, I'm so excited and happy to be on this stage, the virtual stage. I'm super excited to the topic as well, as you all know. My name is Suna. I'm a chemical engineer and the founder and CEO of Tawazun. Tawazun is the first meditation and mindfulness app in Arabic in the Middle East. And we are here to bring emotional awareness closer than ever to every Arabic speaker around the world. Mental health is a big topic, and I think it's a big scientific topic that we can approach. And today I'm so happy to bring it on.
Thank you, Suna. Ines?
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Kulthum. Thank you for the opportunity, everyone, and for this platform, actually, to be with this panel along with Suna and Zaheer. And I hope it will be a great time for all of us to discuss and explore areas of how we can contribute towards the offering and making mental well-being more accessible to our communities. I am the co-founder and the CEO of Takalam. Takalam is the Arabic word for speak or talk. We are an online counseling platform that we make access to mental health experts and professionals easy. So we connect individuals and employers, organizations with mental health experts through a digitalized, private, and convenient solution. Again, I really look forward to this.
Thank you. I'm sure our audience is as excited as we all are. And I'm going to start by the obvious question to our panelists. And obviously, this has affected multiple aspects of how the world is changing, basically, whether on an economic level, on social level. So this is, a question that I'm sure you've heard before. But what are the changes you've seen in terms of mental health trends since COVID hit? Would you like to answer, to go ahead first?
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I waited. I
like how
somebody will.
Right?
Okay.
Go ahead, Sona.
Thank you, Ines. I'll take it that COVID is just an opportunity, I think, to the entire world to go slow for a while and think about what's going on, because we are all on automated pilot in our lives. I think many of our listeners and also Zaheer and Ines can maybe agree with me, is that COVID just gave us the opportunity to see what's going on, really, to sit down for a second and to see, are we living the life? And the questions that happen on age of 40 for people, it's happening now for 15, for 20 years, and people know more. I mean, this is the kind of life that I want to live, and how can I move from the pilot, the automatic pilot, to what I want in my life? And I think this is what COVID did. We can see it as a negative opportunity or a positive opportunity. I choose to take it as a positive opportunity, in which where I spent more time with my family, we get connected more. And today we have to understand that at the mental health level, social is the most important. How to get back to relationships, healthy relationships, especially our kids and our young generation. How could they create a much better relationships and healthier relationships after coming back from the COVID? I think. Ines, back to you if you would like to add.
I have to say that COVID did one good thing in our lives. It's actually raising the awareness about mental well-being and surfacing, that issue that's been hidden. Everyone, having challenges, life challenges, and going through that kind of stress has been always there. Definitely COVID did trigger it and did escalate that to a higher level. Yet it's been always there. But speaking and looking and reflecting on the need of access to mental health care has never been there. Having discussions with these panels, awareness sessions, and all of that, I have to say, pre-COVID, that was rare, unfortunately. So.
Sure.
So thanks to COVID for opening up this subject for all.
Let's talk. What's going on, really.
Yet studies actually do confirm that 1 in 3 people who faced COVID and survived the COVID, they would face a kind of mental health disorder. That's as per the recent studies that have been shared globally from WHO and others. So this is a necessity now. So access to mental health care is not more of a preventive action, unfortunately, now. And despite that, this is the style and this is our offering, and this is how we always try to position it to our clients. But I'm really afraid that due to COVID, that we're walking into a next pandemic, and now it is a necessity to translate this awareness that everyone is working to it into actions, plans, and ensure that the offering is available for everyone in our communities.
Yeah, I like what.
Yeah, for COVID really did things.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Zaheer, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I was agreeing with Ines and Suna regarding how COVID really speeded things up. So where we were going to be at in 10 years because of COVID, now everything's happening now, which is a great thing. So it has a lot of, good positive impact as well. So Zaheer, what's your opinion, or did you see any difference in terms of the mental health trends since COVID?
Yeah, I agree with
100%. There have been changes.
Yeah, I totally agree with some of the points that Suna and Ines made, and I think the one thing that I did when COVID started to show in the region was think about my own mindset about, if I get COVID, how am I going to deal with it? And I did have COVID, but not until last month. And I, being a student of mindfulness and meditation, had the idea that, it doesn't matter what happens. If I get it, I'll beat it. If I don't get it, I'll beat it. But obviously, this is not the majority. I know people were scared. People had anxiety just about potentially getting COVID. And I think that obviously that anxiety opened up the whole mental health plethora of thoughts and ideas. And suddenly, one of the things is that the stigma has really started to break. People realize that mental health is something that we need to think about. And I think, as Ines said, we need to thank COVID, not because we want mental health, but we want people to recognize mental health as not as something that should be buried under the mattress, but something that we need to actually address and talk about, which has been brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's especially in this region, like you brought up a great point, Zaheer, about the stigma, especially in this region. So how obviously has changed due to all of the mental health issues, or just everyone has been affected in a way, whether it's been anxiety or a more advanced mental health issue. So next question, I guess, would be the privacy that telehealth solutions provide, is that beneficial? How do you see, how does it change the mindsets of consumers, especially in this region?
I can take it. I think today it's more obvious to everyone around the world that individual path or individual well-being explore the well-being of everybody's itself. This is where everybody is going. We want to know and to ourselves better, be aware to our thoughts and emotions better, and we do that everybody with his own exploring by himself. What we do today, understand, maybe me and also Ines and Zaheer, is that people want to have it privacy. They want to do it with themselves in their own time, and this is what we bring. For example, what we do at Tawazun is we provide individual, daily, scientific practices that can help understand where am I today, how am I feeling, why am I feeling this way, and sometimes maybe it's the before going to a mental health expert or knowing if I have a mental health or anything, or even to identify anxiety and stress, just to know what's on the daily behavior that I'm doing that causes this situation that I'm in. After identifying this, I can go a step further and go reach for help for a mental health and which everybody I think needs in the society. For one time or another, you will need to consult with somebody, expert, to see what's going on with me, why it is happening. And this made me sound like a small, simple action. I mean, what's going on and why am I feeling? Why am I reacting this way? But this is a huge, I mean, psychoanalysts may take you for 10 years or more to understand just the background of your own behavior today, which is coming from parents and coming from childhood experiences. What we come today is to bring this journey easier, faster, more accurate as much as we can, and make it individual from our side.
Yeah. Definitely, customization is a very important factor here because, I mean, each individual and their story needs to be tailored for them. And the more we understand and the more they are actually open to explore and try different things till they reach the right solution, because that's the challenge, right? I mean, for myself, when I started the meditation and listening to different, meditation audios, even video, I mean, it takes you a while to try one thing, jump from one thing to another, and that requires patience till people they find themselves, and that is a personal, very much personal journey for people and for each individual. So having this offering coming online and offering this online makes that kind of variety and the options available for the user, right? So that's the beauty of technology. You have the different options, you have the different solutions, different styles, I would say, that each of these platforms is taking. So despite that, speaking about mental well-being is really broad, and I'm really happy to see by every day new players joining the landscape of mental well-being offering for our community, which is really beautiful, as everyone would come in with a new, not necessarily a very new product, right? We're still in early stage here in our region to come up with something that is completely new. We really need to keep it simple, yet everyone will tackle this with a different style and targeting a specific audience and different tools. And this is really great to help people and guide them and give them the options and raising awareness, which is as exactly how you said it, Sona. I mean, it might seem easy, but taking that very first step towards your mental well-being journey for each individual, even employers and entities, even governmental entities, that first step is very difficult. So it's great to see that a lot is happening, more offering, more options for our community members now is available. And I believe with finding ways where we join forces and work together, that will be we will be able to translate this into an easier access and simple access to our community members.
Zaheer, would you like to add anything to this?
Yeah, I think obviously we're on the topic of privacy, and this is at least from an Abu Dhabi perspective, you know, for digital platforms, we have very strict security and privacy rules we need to adhere to, and we have audits with the Department of Health. So this is not something we can take lightly. I think the bigger issue on privacy, though, is, let me ask you a question, actually. How many people do you know that have had a mental health condition versus number of people you know who've had something far worse, like cancer? You know, we're okay to talk about something like cancer, which is life-threatening, and we're going to potentially, in most cases, die soon, or, you know, with the preventative action, be able to live 10, 15 years. But something that's killing our minds, we're not willing to talk about. And that's what I feel is starting to change. You know, people are becoming more vulnerable to say, I'm suffering, and I need you to know I'm suffering so that we can work through it collaboratively together. And I don't think it's so much a privacy issue as a let's change mental health conditions to be not something that I should be embarrassed about, but something that I should be proud that I overcame. And I'm happy to say I've had mental health issues personally, and I cured them through using meditation and mindfulness. I didn't see a counselor, but I'm proud to say that I've been through that challenge, and I'm happy to share my experience with everybody.
Do you know anybody who doesn't? Really? I mean,
I don't.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody who didn't
all
face
done.
challenges in their life that they needed to consult with an expert about it and to understand their own being?
Yeah, I
Aren't
think
we
it's just
all?
that they're not willing to put their hands up, right? Yeah, we all are. That's the funny thing. Everybody is. But they're not willing to put their hand up and say, yeah, I was there, right?
I was there.
Join the club.
Me too. We were all
still
there. Yeah. And I'm sure the audience can relate as well. Yeah, it's something, you know, that touched literally everyone. So, but I was just wondering, because of the...
Just one point
Sorry.
here to add is actually, we really need, and I was just thinking about this yesterday itself, last night I was discussing this with my family, and what we really lack here is more talk about, you know, success stories and people, you know, we really need to find people that we can relate to. I mean, it's great. Like now we know that it's challenges, I'm facing this, but then how did that really help someone? Still, that's a challenge, like for people to come out and say, I've been through this is how it really helped me, this is how I was feeling before and now. I mean, that definitely a lot of impact assessments and tools and different ways has been measuring and tracking this, but it's all for analytical and clinical, you know, verification and so on. But we are still not having those role models who they come up and say, raise their hands proudly and mention and share their stories. We need more and more of this. I'm sure there are a few, but we really need more to work on that. So people, they can have the courage, they feel like they can relate to that person, and, you know, guide them through this.
Yes, I can't wait. We're going to shrink is gonna be, you know, the new Hollywood in the Middle East. You know, I really can't wait, and I can see that coming. I mean, I like what you're doing, Inas, and other also platforms that are working on bringing the mental health by psychologists closer than ever. And I think that this becoming closer, you know, it's just by your phone. Just use it. Come close. Come hear what you have to say. It should be every day or thinking, you know, that if I'm gonna face any time in my life any challenges, this is what I'm gonna do. This is the steps that I'm gonna do to try to solve these things. And the benefits of not having many years of struggling alone, this is the benefit, the most important benefit, I think, of having. And you don't have to fight it alone. I mean, you don't have to fight your feelings or your emotions or your thoughts alone. Could be that everybody is feeling the same as you are. Could be that everybody is facing what you are facing, and this is normal. So when you feel normal, this is part of the curing the feeling itself. It's like everybody else is having. So,
but also I feel like we're getting, as our community members, that we're facing this, we're recognizing this, and then we start to go and relate and consult with people who are not really maybe special. I mean, every one of us have a great support system, and we are in communities that's so beautiful. We have the support of our parents, our friends are like sisters and brothers to us, so we have a great support system. But yet that is really, really tricky, and it's very much different from going and speaking to a specialized person and getting the right help. It can, drive us to another.
So important. This is so important what you're saying now, because sometimes I think Dr. Shafi, our head psychologist, said it in one podcast, is you must not go to your family to consult when you want something to be with your suppose or with your, you need to have other opinion from other psychologists or other experts to be able to have the right direction.
Yes, and I always say that asking the right questions, this is what these specialists they do. They just help you with asking the right questions at the right timing, and not try to give direction and input that is not validated. So the approach is really different, and so there's a lot that we really need to do in terms of raising awareness. It's different. One thing is raising awareness about the importance and the need and why we need this, but a lot of educational, I believe we really need to start considering and implementing, making this step by step, just as you said, Suna, really clear, and to help people to see the difference and differentiate. Sorry.
Yeah, and I loved what you said about role models as well. I think it's such a good role models, because we have role models in business, we have role models in all these different sectors, but not a role model that we can look up to and be like, this, they went through a mental health problem and were not ashamed to go and see someone and speak to someone. And so I think people don't relate to that yet.
That's true.
They're still not relating to it as they should. And also speaking to a shrink or to psychologists, or instead of a family member, well, it's not only the psychologist's ability to ask the right questions, but also you're opening up more, even subconsciously. You don't know that, but you will be opening much more to someone you don't know, to your family. There's always a bias, whether we like it or not. So how can we normalize? How can we normalize it here in the UAE? How can we normalize going to see a mental health doctor?
I would say, we need to again offer different solutions. Sorry if I'm jumping. It's just
no. Just thinking that we are, when she asks, the girls jump to.
Yeah, Zaheer. I mean, carry on.
I'm forcing myself not to answer.
This is carry on.
No, please,
Zaheer, we'd love to hear your feedback.
I think you already started a chain of thought there, so why don't you continue? That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, the word normalization is a bit tricky here, I would say. I mean, different options, providing different solutions, trying to support people with having that access. I mean, going to the shrink, is it now really offline? Shall we really keep pushing for that? I'm not saying that it doesn't have to be there, or shall we only push for online? I mean, it's really good to have different options. This is what I'm trying to say. Come up with more innovative. I'm sure there will be even something else, and more work towards providing different solutions, where what we might need just to focus on normalization, that everyone is facing mental health challenges, and that's what's normal. Now, the approach and where to go and what to do, I believe as we're targeting and we're here to serve our local communities, one way to start is trying different options. I mean, this is new for all of us, the providers and for the community members. So we are in a trial phase, see what works, what's not working, and build up on those areas that they're making an impact. So it's really good to put in more offerings, different solutions and tools that might be helpful.
Zaheer,
Yeah.
we're all looking at you.
So yeah, I really like what Ina shared there, and I think the viewpoint that we have personally and as a company is, in order to normalize these things, we need to be taking ownership of our health. The problem most of us have is we're relying on a doctor, a practitioner, some form of therapist, without understanding what's going on within ourselves. So by taking ownership of our health, we are acknowledging to ourselves that there is something that I need to address. I need to do some investigation. I need to speak to the right person to help me identify what's going on. And we look at it very holistically. It's not about what's necessarily going on in your life, but it's what are your biomarkers telling you? What is your environment telling you? What is your friend circle telling you? Are you hanging around with people who are causing you to have mental issues? People who are making you feel insufficient or inadequate, whatever it might be. The problem we have is we don't introspect enough. And that's why obviously having tools like what Sona has of providing that mindfulness element is really, really important, because it's within us. We have the specialists there to help us, but if we don't acknowledge it first, it's not going to normalize. And of course, we're already seeing it normalize because we've got influencers talking about mental health issues. We've got celebrities talking about mental health issues. And we're starting to see this in the region. But what Sona said about, seeing a shrink as in going to Hollywood, for example, that needs to normalize. That's what, companies need to say, well, actually, I need to mandate every employee to go through an hour's assessment with a mental health worker to ensure that they're okay, that whatever we're causing them from an employment perspective and work perspective is not causing them anxiety, stress, depression, to create those more collaborative environments where we're not thinking about this as a problem, but as a necessity in order to get people to thrive. So I think we need to really educate. We need to be willing to be ambassadors, as Ina said. I'm happy to share stories on platforms. I'm happy to say what I've been through and get other people to do it too. So
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, just something that we have these apps and these online solutions, and people are still not understanding. We're still trying to normalize mental health. So what do you think it will ever replace the in-person experience when we go see a psychologist in person? Or
Kulthum,
I don't do counseling, but Inas might be the right person to do this one.
Well, please, Sona, you want to say something?
No, I want to be very specific here with something, Kulthum, and I think we need to focus on this issue. When we ask the question, when we ask now, how do we normalize mental health? How is normalizing mental health? I think this is creating something in our subconscious that is negative already. I mean, I think this approach, let's forget about mental health. I'm inviting everybody to forget about mental health. Let's talk about really the emotional awareness and the behavior awareness. Let's talk about it this way. If the mental health is like a monster in the room, let's leave it, and let's talk about emotional awareness. Who doesn't want to have a better emotional awareness in their lives? Who doesn't want to know why this behavior is being on the surface of my life, when I can really understand the background of it, of the background of creation of the behavior is just the surface of what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. So if I can have the possibility to understand more my feelings and my thoughts and my emotions on a daily basis, using experts and using why not to have the clarity? I mean, why would I want to live a lifetime without having a clarity of how can I choose to live my life? It's just one thing that I really want to say.
Yeah, I agree actually, Sona. And if we're going to, the challenges about technology and the beauty of technology, again, making different ways ways to access mental well-being solutions, making it easier. I have to say it is way more simple. It can be as well online and affordable. I mean, I agree about the thing about, that employers and our leaders in different fields, they have to contribute to making that, to demand mental well-being to be a lifestyle from, their employees. But yet, there are some organizations and employers that we know that they have gyms in their for physical training in their place, in their workplace. So why also they won't take a step further and help our communities, which really actually it immediately reflects back on the performance of their employees, and try to also contribute to making this affordable and easier and accessible to our communities. That is really important. I have to say, being an employee, working in different sectors for the last 15 years or so, I know that all of us, like, they really seek to excel and do best in their workplace, and we have families and dependents on us. Yet adding up that we're going and doing mental health care, and that to be also demanded from the employers on us, that sometimes, even especially with the current situations, it's a bit adding more pressure. I'd like here to ask those employers to work hand in hand with solutions like us and so many others, and make that more affordable and accessible to the employees, rather than just saying it is important. Again, we really need actions here. And just to tackle your question, Kulthum, which was really good about, as advocates for technology, does that mean that the human interaction will disappear at any point, or it's not as important? I mean, again, our cultures and where are we at immediately would respond saying that the importance of the human interaction is huge, especially in this subject. For two, also, I'll back up with this, where there was one study issued, I think, at Medical News, that they're saying that individuals that they go actually for telehealth and teletherapy online, 82% of who were surveyed, they preferred video over audio. Right, so they like to see that person. They'd like to look at the eyes. They'd like to relate and so on. So the human interaction is important, and technology can facilitate that. It's not only eliminating it. So that can be offered and can be facilitated. Technology is only an enabler and the tool to make the journey easier and more simple for our communities. Yet, meeting, for example, especially for mental well-being, the importance of the individual to connect with the right mental health specialist is like more than 60% of the treatments. Is once they connect, they find the right person. Once I connect with the right mental health specialist, that really affects the effectiveness immediately of the psychotherapy, even for the meditation, right? If I like that and others. So it's really, really important. So what technology can do is to help in matching, in finding, helping people to get to the right person, to the right tool. So definitely there's a lot of beauty in technology. I am, I do a lot in technology and coding and taking care of that part, even for Takalam. However, we always look at it as, again, an enabler and not to replace the human interaction, especially in this field. We're too early for that to happen now.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, like all of these apps provide, like you mentioned, these options, because not one thing will not work for everyone. Mindfulness will not work for one person. Meditation won't work with someone else, but you can pick and choose what works for you. And I think people associate a lot mental health and behavioral awareness, like to say, to this social trends right now that we see online on the apps. So it's people are taken aback and they're like, oh, I don't want to be part of this trend. So they don't see it as what it is, but they see it as more of a fad that's going through because of the social media aspect and all the yeah. So it's a great way, I think, as well for people to understand what suits them and privately, because they're doing it online. They're not going to see someone in person because that really like restricts you to one thing. But with mental health apps and telehealth solutions, you're able to pick and choose, try something again, and then try another thing, and really get to know yourself on a deeper level on all aspects, I think. And maybe we can segue into the next question, which is what can be done to prevent the worsening of mental health due to the social media trends and social media, especially on youth, right? And with COVID, it just got worse because people were bound to stay home with all of those quarantines, and all they did was go online and use these filters that doesn't make them look real, and so it just got worse. I was wondering what you all thought of how to do to prevent, so go into the preventative measures really. Maybe Zaheer, you'd like to start?
Sure. I think from the feeling of being inadequate is, I don't know what the mental health word for it is, but this is what social media has done in this time, is that we look at what others have, where others are going, where others are eating, places where we'd love to go but can't for whatever reason. And of course, when you're stuck in a form of quarantine or a lockdown, it was very, very challenging seeing people do things in countries. And this gave people a sense of feeling like they weren't enough, or they couldn't have enough, or they whatever. I don't know what the word is. Maybe in us, Sona can share the clinical term for this. But obviously in this situation, it's caused more mental health issues. And I'm just talking from a let's say non-clinical perspective on this, but I think we've seen that detriment to society happen as a result of it. And even when you go out now, you see people recording TikTok videos in the middle of nowhere and not thinking about the environment they're in, people who might not want to be in their videos, but it's become so natural to just do this stuff. And I think going back to being more mindful about how you're representing yourself, showing up in the world, how you want to be seen, and how it will impact the way people think about you, the way you think about yourself, is super important. And what Sona said about just taking that time to go back and look at your own emotional stability is so basic in terms of what we should all be doing. Like taking that few moments out to realize, how am I feeling, and why am I putting out there what I don't really necessarily think represents my values and who I am, but because that's what society expects of me, or because that's what other people are posting, and I need to keep up with the trends. So yeah, it's a huge issue, and I'd love to hear more about the clinical perspective from you guys.
I really like what you said, Zaheer. I think it's very clear. It's very accurate about many of us behave or do things on a daily basis that not necessarily um, go aligned with our own belief system. I mean, to understand what is your belief system, why are you behaving this way today? Uh, could sound really simple, but it's a really process. It's a huge process to understand it. Um, One of our podcasts, Dr. Shafi Masafa said something that also amazed me, is I can react now for my child wearing something. I can react to it, but if I could have the tool or the possibility or the capability to pause for a second and understand my reaction that is coming now, and I think Tawazun is what we do today on the mindfulness area, is that we try to understand the action and reaction. I mean, why do I react this way? If we at least help in the Middle East anybody to understand exactly from our meditation sessions and our podcast, how do I go from the action to reaction? Just to pause a little bit to understand. I think it's done. When you have a driving lessons, I'm going to do some analogy here. When you have your driving lessons and they ask you what could shorten the time of response and lengthen the time of response. And I think meditation and mindfulness, if you want really to understand what meditation does in your life, it just allows this time to go much bigger. It allows you to understand, do I, Suna, or do I, Zaheer, Inas, and Khaldun, do I want to respond this way? Is this response coming because my parents did this way, or because the neighborhood is telling me this way, or because the society is telling me? And is this my own belief system? Do I believe that my kid should be raised this way? And I think the social media, what people like us should do is, and I think we're not doing enough. I think Tawazun, for example, we're not doing enough. We are not social media persons. And this is so hard for us to do it. If you look at our social media and our app, there's a gap between that, because we don't really pursue, we don't consume social media so much, so we don't know how to approach it as well. And I think this is one of the things that we really want to work on with Tawazun, is that I see our kids. How can you fight it, Zaheer? How can you fight a TikTok? Or I'm sorry for naming the, but how can you fight it? I mean, how can you fight a 15 years old with all their friends and all that? You can fight it only by bringing awareness to the exact who I want to be, exactly as you said it. Who am I? What I want to be, and what I came to do in this lifetime. And it's very short at the end of a lifetime. So this is what should we be doing? I think awareness, as Ina said.
Yeah, I mean, this is really great and very much at point. I just add one more thing about, which I fall into it sometimes as a mom as well for a 9-year-old kid, is like we just avoid that. Yani I'd say, like, for my Yasmin, I'd say خلاص ما في this platform or that platform, and I limit the time. And I have, even if I allow it, like sometimes I have a lot of resistance. And what I think is we really need to more focus on is we need to adapt to this, live with it. Unfortunately, that's something that will only get worse. There is no way that we control it.
Let's fight back.
I mean,
Social.
it's
Let's
like
go
it's
social.
happening. Right? Yeah, let's go on social. We have to be there. We have to find ways where we don't come in, even controlling it more. I mean, more of a monitoring. So I've been even looking for solutions, even when doing that for my kids. And that's why I'm not sure if you, Zaheer, who mentioned at the beginning that the need for mental health care and access will starting to be urgent at earlier and earlier ages, and that all is due to this to the technology, to the use of technology, and the stress that comes with it. It only comes with more images, more content, more processing, and simulation for our thoughts and our emotions and so on. So it is I feel like it's a bit still of a tricky subject. It's something that we really need to find ways to live with it, adapt to it, create awareness. I'm personally looking for ways of not saying having control over it, rather than maybe monitoring and correcting and learning by mistakes. So this is approach that I'm looking into it. And here I'm looking at, I'm speaking on with the mom hat. Yet it is tricky, and there is not much available for us in the market. But social media is one of the main, I'd say, areas that is triggering a lot of mental health challenges for our users and our community members. And it is really important to activate these platforms, Suna. I mean, in order to be able to communicate with the audience. Everyone is there, everyone is in that social media. And yeah.
But do you think we could do something as well on a practical level?
In terms of what, for example?
I just want to say that social media is not going anywhere, right? So
yeah.
So effectively, what we need to do is normalize mental health for media, make mental health so easily accessible and affordable, because we're not there yet. It needs to be normalized in schools, in office places, part of gym assessments, part of fitness assessments, that we know mental health becomes so like thing that we can talk about. We have friends who don't shy away when I say I'm suffering from a mental health condition, and that's what the social media of mental health. I think we should all collaborate on that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
To really make it.
I never heard that. Let's fight back. We have a talk after this. I'm having a TikTok account. No, I'm just kidding. It's really not easy. I mean, I agree with you totally, but for me, it's against my own belief system. I mean, it's something that, if done, has to be done to really fight back, to give more aware or more different kind of content to our generation, and we owe that. I mean, I think we really owe them to give them this possibility of openness to these different tools that we provide.
If anyone has questions from the audiences, please feel free to. There's a little box at the bottom, and just ask your question there, so I can. Free to ask things you want, but yeah, in the meantime, I totally agree. Like, it really has to start with schools and starting that awareness there, right? So making it normal for students to either talk to their counselors in the school, or for companies. They have these big corporate companies, especially, that put so much pressure on their employees, but rarely, work is where you spend most of your time, right? You're there all day during the week. You see your colleagues sometimes more than your family, but sometimes you don't know your colleagues, or you don't even know why you're going to work. And I'm speaking for like really some corporate companies that miss that holistic approach with their employees to make them feel that they're part of something bigger, part of family. So I think that's something we definitely need to tackle. So yeah, I don't see any questions.
Yeah, I think Suna and us have convinced everybody here, all our attendees, that
yeah,
they've all signed up to their apps already. They're already counseling on Takalam. They've just signed in already.
They're all on their apps.
And on Tawazun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, they have all these apps now, and so you can all download it and start your meditations or mindfulness, or speak to someone, or even just refer your friends and family. So we have one question that came through. So how can we get schools to get more involved? How do we get schools involved?
What a good question. I mean, in us, I think you might agree with me that this is not one of the priorities right now, despite the fact that everybody is talking about mental health and well-being. When you try to look to allocate budgets for it, it's always a problem. So I think schools can do that by themselves, despite the fact that they want, and it's something that has to be governmental, coming from a governmental decisions. And here I invite. We have a special training for mindfulness for schools from Tawazun, which we're doing, and also doing in the UAE, and we want to expand more. But we see that many schools want that opportunity, but can't afford it or can't allocate enough of the team to be there to do that. So I'm inviting on the stage every governmental entity that would like to talk about this to bring it up. Mindfulness and also what Inas is bringing, mental health accessible to everybody is a must. It's something that is a must to be. And also Zaheer can maybe agree with me that this is something that we should do it. Initiate about it. We should initiate this practices in schools, and we should make it affordable and accessible. Maybe schools can contribute something, and governmentals would do. Maybe we can add benefits to schools that have better accessibility to mental health for their students and teachers. If we're not in schools, where should we be? I mean, this is the basic of mental health and well-being.
Yeah, I really totally agree.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Please
Go
carry
ahead,
on.
please, sorry.
No, carry on.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And from a school perspective, the biggest issue is with child protection and breaking through that. So getting approved by the education authorities like Dubai Education Council or and Abu Dhabi Education Authority, getting them to approve you to deliver this in schools is a lengthy procedure. And that's what we need to drive from a policy level, that this should be mandated. I've actually tried to do stuff from a mindfulness perspective with schools, and we were told we can talk to the teachers, we can talk to the parents, but we can't talk to the students. And this is something that if we can train teachers to incorporate, and this does happen in my son's school, by the way, they do actually have time to talk about their emotions. They have there's open forums. There are, when they're feeling something that is bothering them, they have people they can go to, teachers that will listen. But I'm not seeing it in enough schools. And definitely, if we can start to open this up from a childhood level, maybe we can get rid of mental health conditions by the time our children get to our age. But it's really important
like
for it to come in at schools.
I love this vision.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's like hoping a dream to come true. I mean, the minute you said, because I've always been, when I think about the future of these kids, I see it like really it's a bit more and more complicated, and it scares me again as a mom. Nevertheless, I feel like this needs to be really tackled as in a nation-wide, not even in every school. I feel like access to mental well-being services for our students, for our children, is one of their rights, and it is a necessity, and it's not an add-on anymore. I mean, that needs to be offered accessible. I mean, I remember the good days when everyone was talking about bullying. And how did that affect the kids? I mean, there was a great, buzz about bullying in general, and bullying at schools, and raising awareness. And everyone is now still carrying part of that. Yet what happens, unfortunately, for at the schools and the students levels, like it's like waves, you know. Sometimes subject comes up, everyone's paying attention, and then khalas, it fades out and go. And I understand that the time and the schedule for the students, the parents, is really, really tight, and it is very challenging to add more into it. So the approach, as you mentioned, Zaheer, for that to be embedded within the curriculum, within their mornings, within their evenings, and it's becoming a lifestyle for the students, that's great. And that's one thing that really comforts me. You know, as my daughter, they have access in their schools, and that's a bit more normal, and they do podcasts about mental well-being, and you know, that's the kind of awareness and the tools and things that needs to be happening in our school. Access to mental health therapists and counselors, it is all right. I mean, and per schools, the role would be more of you know, matching again and doing the right the access to the right case, or matching with the specialist, not only having one counselor at the school doing it all, and at the end, you know, it's I believe more attention really needs to be done on this. I mean, being in UAE and seeing all of these initiatives happening, I see that very soon. You know, having mental health access to the school students will be happening, and it's something that will be accessible to all of our students. Yet, having that guided and supported by the parents and the schools is really important. I mean, enough of you know, of the risks that we're taking, and we're putting our kids through it. So that is really, really risky, and definitely it has to be regulated, monitored, just to make sure that, you know, the access is happening for the right tools, and it's all well regulated.
Yeah, one of the questions was regarding actually including parents. So how do you think we should also include the parents to encourage more open discussions? Maybe, yeah, I'm wondering what's all of you.
Yeah, I mean, if I've just to carry on the point I've just said, I mean,
Yeah.
from the schools and collaboration starting from the schools, parents are important to be part of the process. I mean, cannot just send the kids to the, I mean, less than 18 years old. I'm not sure if they can be attending any of direct counseling alone. I mean, that's something, even for our platform at Takalam, we don't do that. They have to have a guard with them, and someone to help them make sure that they are everything is on the right track. So, however, at the schools, they can go in partnership with the parents to guide the parents. I mean, a lot of us, and as parents, we can recognize the problem, but we're not sure how to tackle it, what are the right questions, how to prepare our kids for the future. A lot of awareness, a lot of content, and also making the access to the parents easier. That's one thing. I mean, parents, if you educate them and you give them the tools and they understand what's available there in the market, and you provide them with this, they also, you know, you're saving their lives. I mean, our kids are always a priority for the parents. So engaging the parents and working with the parents is happening. I believe the schools, they have to take that part in terms of education and supporting the parents and introducing different tools to the parents. And then the parents, in the support with the schools, they can carry that on with the kids.
Inas, also something about the schools and the psychologists inside the schools, or the consultant. Teachers don't approach the psychologist in the school, or it's for the kids. So actually, I think their needs also are not.
That's
not
very
important. I mean, if we can begin only with the teachers, not with the students, if we just begin with those who are responsible for our own kids' mental health,
Very good point. Yeah, very good point. I mean, and you know, you can never blame them after, you know, doing online, offline, all at the same time, having kids with them at the house. I mean, a lot really needs to be done on this. That's a great point, Suna.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also thought something that came to mind was, you know, obviously the culture in the region, and even, you know, the wider region going into other parts of Asia and other parts of the Middle East is to have a lot of children. And sometimes it's hard as parents to manage your own mental health and that of, like, you know, 3 or 4 kids, or maybe more in some cases.
We have
and that's why
we have a joke about it. mommy, 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 mommy. You know that? Really, it's
But yeah,
one
but
one
that's why
actor I like.
it's even more
Yeah,
important. Yeah.
one actor
It's
he
more
said
important to drive it from a policy level because of that, you know, to make mindfulness available, because you can prevent this with something as simple as mindfulness and other practices like gratitude and kindness and so many other things. Sorry, I cut you off there, Sona.
no, it's all right. I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing because I'm a mother. Ines, I don't know it's here, you too. So
Yeah,
I think COVID
I'm not a
just
mother, but yeah,
yeah.
I'm a father, but
You wish. Just kidding.
yeah, I couldn't
Um,
handle being a mother.
one actor I really like, Helmi.
Ahmed Hilmi, is it?
Helmi, yes. He said once in Sahabat Saada, and I really like him. He said, when I sit on the COVID at home, and I don't go a lot, but at the COVID, I really knew my kids. And, you know, he said, the mummy, 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 mummy. Sometimes they can be in the same room, not in the other room. And also, why do they need to use the mummy before what they want to say? Just say what you want without the mummy, not mummy, mummy. This is my own case when I face COVID in my house. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
so I completely rely on what you say.
true.
Another question from the audience: how can we make mental health more affordable?
Online.
Online.
Online, yeah. This already, exactly.
Inas won't like
And
it,
then
but
what
with
are...
one session you can have a yearly subscription at Tawazun. One session of mental health. You have a mindful year with one session.
And then another question from the
Just kidding.
audience: what are some tips you can give to deal with stressful working conditions?
Inas, want to
Breathe.
take it? Read.
Just take a moment to breathe. If everybody could take 5 seconds to breathe before they responded to any situation at work, you know, just to get to fill your mind and your body with oxygen, the working, just that would make a huge difference in the work environment, I feel.
You are a great ambassador to Zaheer to Tawazun. Really, you're doing great. Thank you.
No, I was one time we were having a session with one of the employers that we were, working with them. I mean, we do a lot with the employers in the workplace, places making, designing programs and holistic programs. That includes breathing and access to counselors and others. And it did actually surprised me big time that some of the employees, they're saying we don't have time to do that. I mean, we eat while we're working. So like any and even sometimes that breathing and taking some time off, and as much as it is important as it's important speaking to a specialist, especially with this kind of stress, right? That you don't have the time to eat. And we were trying to find tips and solutions for people to make this more effective. All what I'm saying is, I would say here is for everyone who goes through a burnout and a lot of stress, and I believe everyone nowadays is facing that on different levels. I'm trying to even monitor this for myself. It is very demanding. There is a lot that we can do and we want to do, and work-life stress is huge. So I would always recommend, I mean, just of a practical point of view for everyone and everyone who's listening us today, is to make that free time, quality time for your mindfulness. So no matter how much limited time that you have, just make sure that you make some of that time quality time. It doesn't, it starts with creating that in your daily routine and the life routine, embedding something in your daily routine that is really important to your lifestyle, that will even become easier and easier. And then you will not have the stress that, I have now to do to speak to someone, a mental health expert, or I have now to do meditation or so on, or any kind of mindfulness. If we try to embed this and make it part of our lifestyle, that will really be a change maker, breaker yet. going to and speaking with the right specialist in this regard has been of a great help. I mean, I'm not a mental health specialist myself, and despite how much as I am interacting with people and I learn from them on a daily basis, yet I will never be able to play the role. And again, ask the right questions at the right time. That's only a mental health expert and professional can do. Yeah.
Thank you. We have another question for Suna this time.
Kulthum, just one question before, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Your previous question was about stress on the workspace, right? So
yes.
I just want to say something about it, because I feel it's important for me to share it with others. If you feel stress, you have two ways to think about it. Are you stressed because you have not enough time to do what you want and like to do? The second is if you like what you're doing. I mean, if you have really to be aware, where are you standing on your workspace, and ask, as Inas said, the right questions to yourself. Am I in the right place at the workspace? This is what I want? If this is the beginning point, this is great, because many people are in the places that they don't like. But then you have to ask yourself, do I really have to do it because there's no other option for now, and I'll be looking for other options, or this is the only option I have, and to just be aware to this fact, which is never really the case. You always have chance to change what you're doing. Know this fact forever. The thing is about stress is to allocate the reason why you are stressed, and then to try to understand what I'm going to do about it, or even not to do, just to be aware to it, just to answer it.
Thank you. And actually, Suna, there's a question for you. You mentioned, so from the audience, you mentioned you have programs for workplaces as well. Yes. What do these programs involve?
Yeah, we have a customized, you can see at our website, we have it also for workspaces and for schools. What we offer is very simple. We offer both bulk purchases of Tawazun. That means the school could provide for the teachers or for students, depending on their needs, a mindfulness access to our mindfulness sessions. The second thing is when a customer comes to us and say to us, we want to bring mindfulness into our daily routine, or to practice them, to understand how to do it on their own by themselves. So we do customized trainings for 2 or 3 sessions with the workers or the teachers, where we introduce them to the world of mindfulness and bring the emotional awareness tools closer and more understandable to their needs in the school or in the workspace.
Thank you. So that was the final question from the audience. So I think we can close the event. It will be made available online. If you have anything, the audience, if anyone from the audience wants to reach out, please reach out to all of us if you have any more questions. And download those apps and those those solutions offered, because I think they're incredible solutions. And what you guys are doing, ladies and gentlemen, is amazing for us and for everyone. So I really thank you all, and thank you for this beautiful discussion. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Same here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You everyone for attending, and to EHS as well for organizing.
Zaheer,
so how can we reach out if anyone wants to reach out to Suna, Inas, and Zaheer? What's the best way for them to reach out to you on LinkedIn or?
Yeah, I mean,
LinkedIn
is great. Let's connect also with Suna and everyone now. And yeah, I mean, our solutions are all available. I mean, we have our website, we have our mobile application, and we're really happy to explore areas of collaboration with everyone. It's really great to see some of the employers are looking into collaborating with us on ways to make mental health accessible for their employees. Customization and tailoring this is really important. And that's something that we really take care of it as well at Takalam. So yeah, for more good things to happen. And I really hope to see you soon face to face. And Suna and Kulthum.
Me too. We actually have a question that just came through.
Okay.
So how to maintain a productive and actively focused mindset? I think that would be the last question we'll take. So while in the process of job hunting, given that there is a lot of competition, a lot of expectations on the achievements during the pandemic. So basically the pressure of how to maintain productive and actively focused mindset with the stress of job hunting, because it is a stressful time.
I like the idea once it was said going to the mental well-being gym, you know. That's something I'd say. Like people are, because they start now to conceptualize going to a gym for exercising for their physical health. Your mental well-being gym, it can be available and it's online. Try to find the ways and plug this into your lifestyle. I think what I'm doing really on daily basis for my mental well-being, small things can really create an impact. Allocating little of time is very impactful. Having this part of your daily routine and our lifestyle is not easy to start with, but once it's there, you will feel the beauty of this and the power of it. It's huge. It's really huge. So it's all available. It's really online. I mean, I would say try different things. The more that people they try more different things, then you'll find yourself. And that's the tricky part about mental well-being. You know, you have to go through different options, but eventually you will build your own gym for your mental well-being, and that can be with different tools, from mindfulness to access to mental health experts and professionals. So many different ways. Good luck with that, Sarah.
Can I just add something to this? I think one of the biggest challenges in job hunting is not so much. It's almost like the social media problem, right? We want to represent ourselves how we think the employer will want to see us, and this actually is the source of your initial onset of mental health issues. Before you even got the job, you're already priming yourself to have mental issues through the job because you're pretending to be somebody that you think they want you to be.
Oh, that's great.
So,
Yeah,
so
that's a great.
What I recommend is trying to learn more about the company, their values, and how your values align with their values, their mission, their vision. Are you really the right employee for this company? And if you answer questions during an interview about that, you turn around and say, I want to join your entity because you're on a mission to do X, Y, Z. And this is something that's I'm really passionate about. I want to be part of a company that is changing the world in this way. You change the whole dynamic of the interview. Suddenly they're more wanting to learn about you rather than, your achievements, your education and anything else. And the whole relationship changes. And now that what they offer you is at the higher end of the spectrum, and there's so many other factors that will come into it. But the problem is most people are trying to represent themselves like they're on social media. So,
Zaheer, do you have a fan club? I'm in the fan club.
I'm in your fan club.
So true.
Okay, I think that was the last question. So thank you very much. Thanks again, and yeah, have a lovely week because it's the start of the week. So have a lovely week, and looking forward to connecting in person with all of you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.